I'm starting the Zoom, sorry. And all right, casual talking is over. You're done with the casual talking. Okay, guys, welcome back to Latin. This has been a translation intense week, but it's kind of was broken up a little bit by yesterday taking the quiz. But we are doing more translation today. We usually don't do like roughly 4 days. We mostly talk about Theseus on Monday. So anyway, it's probably a normal amount, but we've been rusty, so maybe it seems like more. Tomorrow we'll play Jeopardy, and it'll be cool, relaxed Jeopardy that doesn't get crazy. First of all, this sentence, it could have gone a little better. I mean, I made it very explicit that this was the one, which for me, that always feels like taking out any element of difficulty, Connor. But I proved that that is not necessarily what happens when I tell you guys exactly what sentence is going to be on the test. When I tell you guys that, I don't want you to like be trying to memorize the sentence or whatever. You should actually be engaging with the Latin, like looking at the words and reacting to the words, not just be like trying to like, how did that go again? It was something about 100 youths in front of the gate. A lot of people messed up the second part, and I think that is because y'all weren't like checking every single word in the sentence and knowing that you knew what the word meant. Vito, vitare, we must have got that last chapter and it has not shown up. It means to avoid.
Do you think?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Can I see Connor for a moment? Please,
Yes.
in the office?
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Okay, yep. Obligatory reaction to somebody being called to the office. Great. But they could not avoid. So could not is great for patuerunt. You could have said have not been able. And then to avoid. Vitare is to avoid. I just sense a lot of people don't know this verb still. I almost don't blame you. But then again, it was in a sentence that I told you would be on the quiz. So what else would you have been doing for the first 5 minutes of class yesterday? Other than like learning all the words in here. I guess you were looking at the vocab for the chapter, but you also want to learn the vocab for the sentence you know is going to be on the test. What else? Under the youth stood before. The verbs are perfect tense, stood and could, or like I said, has been able. What else about this? What kind of ablative was? So this is an ablative with a cardinal number. This is a goofy term. It doesn't sound like a term. For when an ablative is the object of x, and to the left of x is a number. That's just a thing that'll happen a lot. It'll be like 10 of the students, whatever it is. Here it's 100 of the youths. So that's ablative of cardinal with a cardinal number. But this is an ablative of manner. Okay, let's review the ablative types real quick. They are, I guess you could think of them as very boring, but they're not very hard. So to me, it's like, who cares if it's boring? If it's easy to learn, you can just learn and move on with your life. There are two ablatives you really like need to know, and that is the ablative of time when. We've still only seen a couple of these. But it's when a noun is describing a period of time, and it's in the ablative, but it's just floating there, and you yourself have to add either at, on, or in or within to translate it and make it sound good. So something like eo tempora would probably be like at that time. Una hora would be maybe in 1 hour. See, we like have to use different prepositions. You just have to think of what sounds good in English. And like hoc aitata, this is a new word for age. Could be on the vocab quiz yesterday. It could have been. Would be within this age, maybe, or in this age, within and inner, interchangeable. And then the other one that you need to know is the ablative of mean. Sorry, not mean. And it has no preposition. That's the whole thing. It's like time when, and that they both have no preposition. That's why I'm saying you like need to know how they work, or else you won't be able to translate them. Whereas ablative of time is a word that describes time, like hour or age. This is going to be not a word that describes time. It means something else, but it doesn't have a preposition, and you will add with so that it can like actually fit with the sentence and flow with the sentence in a way that makes sense. And then these three, it's like they're kind of just terms where it's like it's cool, it's great if you know them, but you'll be fine if you don't really like know them. And that is the ablative we just talked about with the cardinal number, where it's like 100 of the sailors, and sailors is ablative with a cardinal number, object of x. And translate x as of. That is a slight trick to that, I guess. Ablative of manner, just translate it. Something like concurra, with care. No trick there. So who cares about it, essentially? And then ablative of accompaniment is when an ablative is a person. It also the object of cum. But all of these, you'll just translate them fine without even like thinking of them as the thing they are. This is not for y'all. This is for 9B. Guys, sometimes 9B is so chill, and sometimes they make me want to like quit teaching. It's like the first time I've ever felt that way in my life. So I'm 9B. It's Miss Emmons' essay. It's the big ninth grade. There's a tiny ninth grade class of like chill like nerds, and then there's like the 9B of like criminals. But anyway, don't tell them I said that. But I had a bad class with them yesterday, so I'm threatening to email parents, which I don't ever want to have to threaten kids. They were just like really annoying. Sometimes they just like talk. Anyway, it's one thing to like be in the corners in the back of a classroom and kind of talk a little bit through a class. Like you can almost get away with that. But to sit in like the middle front, I had like a group of kids in the middle, and they were just like trying to have conversations through my class. I was anyway, this classroom is not big enough. Like if it was a huge classroom, I could almost see like being tucked away in a corner and kind of like having like on and off communication with my friend, and it wouldn't be disruptive. But if like Soraya and David were just like screaming at each other, like having like conversations while I taught, I would quit. I'd quit. All right, guys. So the verbs in the test, we're almost to the homework, I promise. The verbs were third person plural. Some people are still stumbling on that, and that's okay. Latin is like really hard, and you guys are really young to learn something as hard as Latin. But it is pretty straightforward at this point. It's not just OST must assent. As we add more verb tenses, it gets more diverse than that. But it's not too much to learn still, I think, at this point. First person singular, it is more than just the O. It's also the M, which Ms. Smith did a good job of insisting on from day one, which is a good idea because it shows up in first person singular imperfect, third and fourth conjugation future, annoyingly. And then a word like soon means I am, right? It doesn't end it, it's not sumo, it's soon. And then possum, I can. And then also now our perfect tense verbs in an I in first person singular. But that's just 3 endings. It's not too bad. And of course, you want to know when a verb is first person singular that your subject isn't going to be I. I know a lot of people understand this, but a lot of people also still do not. Totally. Second person verbs in an S, and as of getting the perfect tense, we have this weird isti for perfect tense second person singular. There's still kind of an S in it, but I guess it's a weird ending. There's like 4 weird endings in the perfect tense, right? Third person singular across the board, all 6 tenses, they're just ending in T, just the T, whereas third person plural is in T, and those should be pretty easy to spot. Like you can just scan, because I have all 6 tenses here, you can just scan the third person singular. It is, for imperfect, it's technically BAT, etc., but it's always just terminating in that T, and then NT for third plural if you look at the bottom row here. And then must is always a first person plural. It's we as the subject, right? And then tis is y'all. We can think of the perfect tense istis as different, but it's technically still tis. So, and then we already talked about NT. But yeah, you gotta know this because like your subject is coming from your ability to look at a verb's ending. So you should still be prioritizing anytime you encounter a sentence, whether you're doing homework, doing a test. Find that verb. Your subject might be the first word. I don't know why that happened. The subject might be the very first word. Did it black out like it said it was going to? I turned off the heater. Weird. It's like, was it? Okay. Let's try again.
The older heating. Make sure nothing is blocking the air vent and clean or replace the filter. Lord, please insert your really
Why are you doing that accent? I don't know if that's code. Yeah, no, we're not really allowed to do accents nowadays, unless they're of other white people accents. You can do European accents, it's bad. Anyway, so what was I gonna say? Yeah, so like look at those verbs. Your subject, like if it's a third person singular verb, your subject might be the first noun in the sentence. But otherwise, it's best to just look at that verb, figure out the ending, and what it tells you about the person, the number, and then eventually tense. But tense should come almost secondly. Person and number is this like thing that should be your priority. And if you do focus on it when you're doing your homework, then eventually it becomes muscle memory, and homework gets a lot faster because you're like, oh, my verb's first person, my subject is I. Anyway, it's coming back. Yes. Has anybody seen a movie in a movie theater recently? Like when was the last time? Katie? What? Or Spring Break? What did you see? What it was called? What?
Like Raya and the Last Dragon.
Oh, Raya. It was on stream. Yeah, because sometimes I put things on streaming, but it's also in the theater still. I kind of respect that. Was it a somewhat empty theater or just like a medium? Kind of medium.
Was it good?
Yeah. Kylie? Okay.
They were like 5.
Okay. So like medium amount of people showing up. I don't know why movie theaters aren't like fully back. Like it seems like they'd kind of be like totally normal again. But I guess people are still cautious.
Because the big blockbusters.
The big
Like
blockbuster.
they're gonna make a big blockbuster. They're gonna know they're gonna have.
I guess so. Well, there's also this weird thing where now studios are like, we know not that many people are going to theater, so we're going to put on HBO Max or Disney Plus like immediately at the same time. And so that almost hurts the movie theaters. I mean, I'm sure it does, but it's just because people are, at least some people are unwilling to go to the theater. I want to see, what do I want to see? Oh, I'll see Black Widow. I don't know if it'll be cool. I can't tell if I actually care. Am I still recording? Yeah, I guess I am. So that was just a very boring part of the recording. Okay, sorry for the technical issues, and we are back. I don't know what. Oh, it was the overheating. Okay, I was gonna say I have no idea what that happened. So all 6 tenses are down here. Yeah. OM, ST, M in the present tense context. That's just for sum and possum, I guess. But imperfect, so consistent. You still have people looking at perfect and pluperfect endings and thinking they're imperfect, but imperfect should be something that's very distinct in your mind at this point. Future, we like the both fit endings, unless you disagree with me. We do not like the third and fourth conjugation future tense endings. The ace, et, amus. They feel so less distinct, and they're easier to miss than something like bovis.
We all love the vocative.
Huh?
We all love the vocative.
Oh, yep. No. And we're not verb. And then also perfect tense. It's been in the left-hand corner, the lower left-hand corner of the board for months. We're still probably getting there. Third person plural stands out a lot. It has an E for some reason. Otherwise, it's like I base. And this guy's pretty weird. Like first and second, those are pretty weird and distinct. These two are not distinct. You could probably look at these and think they're present tense, and I wouldn't blame you. And then that one's kind of distinct again too. And then pluperfect, it's just ERA across the board. Where imperfect is BA across the board, blue is ERA. And we just never really see future perfect. It's mostly ERI. Yeah, you can. So yeah, again, for like a Roman person, it's normal for you to learn all these different endings. Essentially, they're just changing the sounds that occur at the end of a verb. Like the first part of the verb is always the same and recognizable. And then the ending is changing. That's not something in English that we're super used to. We have like a limited amount of endings for verbs. We have like the ED ending to sometimes make things past tense or passive voice. We have the ing ending to make something, I guess, like active, present tense active. I am teaching. But we don't have like this amount of endings. So it is weird for us as English speakers to like confront this amount. But what the ancient Romans were able to achieve with these inflectional endings, that's what they're called, allowed them to avoid the plethora of helping verbs that English is just riddled with. Have, had, was, were, will, am, is, are those helping verbs? We have too many. It's too many, and it's trashy, and it's not classy. All right, is this going to annoy me? I could have swore I made it go away. Who can read number 1? What? How are we feeling about the glare?
Feminine.
A little darker.
Close the window, Antonio.
What do you think about the glare?
Next week we can try full dark mode again, but obviously I'm trying out something called gray mode. So this seems way darker than I planned, but actually, to me, the glare looks kind of crazy until I do that.
The glare looks like the sun.
All right, fortes, weary, et femini, anti-itatum. New word, itatum means age. Nostrum, vivebant. This one is wildly straightforward. Anyone want to share? Ella.
Brave men and women before our time.
Yeah. Brave men and women lives before our time. Exactly right. Other than having to look up some vocab potentially, or like having to look at the new vocab for this chapter, because itatus is this new word. There is nothing grammatically weird here at all. The subject, Ella said it, but let's just see how we're all doing with it, or the sentence in general. Maddie, Dugan, Nathan, or Jake, what's the subject exactly? You can say it in Latin or English. What's the subject of this sentence? Feminize one of them. And what else? Not just femini. Yeah, weary. Yeah. Again, there's this weird thing where like femina is an easy word for us to remember because it looks like feminine. weir is not an easy word for us to look like. There are some English words that are related, but they're not words that we necessarily connect to the idea of being a man or whatever. So anyway, but one thing worth noting here is that what declension Ella is this adjective, first, second, or third, or I should say first / second or third. It's one of our new. Yeah, it's one of our new third declension ones, which I can just click back really quickly. So that didn't throw Ella off, which is good, but it's this guy right here, fortes. So weary and femini, those are from first or second and first declension respectively, but they're getting a third declension modifying them. And so their endings don't necessarily look exactly the same, but they do all turn out to be nominative plural, and that's what actually matters. So yeah, we have third declension endings on our new adjectives, but big deal. It's not really a big deal. All of our other adjectives are both first and second, but now we are going to have this group of third declension adjectives that we'll kind of keep adding to, and this is one of them right here. Right here. Good. And yeah, so yeah, like again, like ES, it doesn't look like the long I, it doesn't look like the AE. But if you look at my handy noun chart, sorry, internet kids, in the nominative plural section, we see all of those. We see the AE represented for feminine first declension nominative plural, the long I for second declension nominative plural, and then we see the orange ES. So these new adjectives are gonna have the orange ending, but they're still gonna work with things that have red and blue. There are 5. You guys won't get the 4th and 5th until like right before Christmas of this year. Yeah. Sorry guys, you're not done with me or Latin. We will return after a beautiful summer break and we'll almost finish the textbook. Anyway, so Ella said lived, that's great. I typed we're living, both are fantastic. Because what tense Kylie or Danny is vivant? Press imperf, future perf, or pluperf, huh? Aiden or John, what tense is vivant?
One. I can't see it. That's one.
How can I help make it more visible for you, Aiden?
It's I don't know. Okay, so it's
Should you
Spell it out. Spell it out.
should you don't have to Helen Keller, Aiden probably. Should you sit closer, Aiden, or is it something
No,
else?
here, longer glasses.
Oh, you just forgot your glasses. Absolutely anyone. What tense is this verb? Anyone out loud. What? Huh?
Perfect.
Imperfect. Why did John not respond when I first asked that? Yes, guys, this is imperfect. I'm not going to get grumpy about this. But the BA, it's unmistakable, especially when I highlight it. This is a tense we've had since chapter 5. BA, if you see BA in the ending of a verb, it is imperfect. And you can translate said verb as probably just verbed, but sometimes was or were verbing is good. So in this slide, I have all the helping verbs that go with each one. We use am, is, and are with present tense. Sometimes do or does, or like asking a question, was and were with imperfect, or just verb, right? Perfect and imperfect can both just be verbs, but they do technically have their own distinct helping verbs. Future is will. I've learned over the years that is not obvious as you might think. Has, have, or perfect, you can avoid this, but for questions that start with a perfect tense verb, you actually need it. Had is really important for pluperfect. And who cares about future verb? Never shows up. But guys, imperfect, we've had that for so long. Danny, are you like in agreement when I say, are you like, yeah, you know what? You're right, Mr. Catalanella, we have had imperfect forever. Or are you kind of like, I still don't even know what imperfect is?
No clue what it is.
Which one? The first one or the second one, or a little bit of both?
I mean, I know what it is.
Okay. So I think identifying it is still just like, we're still wrestling with vocabulary constantly. So looking at this word, you're not necessarily like, oh, that's the verb, and I see the BA ending. So some of y'all, it still might just be like this amorphous Latin word that kind of confuses you a little bit. But try to think of these verbs as almost equations. The first part is the stem. It doesn't change. It does change for reflections in the perfect system, right? They all have a different form for their third principal part. That is what we use for the 3 perfect tenses. But beyond that, the first part doesn't change, and then the ending changes. So you've got to be detail-oriented. That's what Latin is all about. Anyway, we have dwelled on this for quite a while. Ante is a preposition that takes an accusative So I taught to Nostrum and the accusative to be the object of antony before our time. They were living before our age, rather. Age is a touch better, I'd say. But time is like fine. Any questions? Antonio Nelius, y'all gotta have something on your desk other than the sweet figurines. You can keep those out for all I care, but you absolutely can't like just be focused on them. That is gonna really hurt your chance of having a good grade. Who can read? Number 2.
Neo Senta Senes Museros Ab Italia Transmaria Diffilia Harry Midaba.
Good. What was that, Carson?
I just wanted to ask, like I said, I didn't look long.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, but let's. It's okay.
Would it still count or not?
It does. Just don't let it but that was chapter 15. We kind of. Well, wasn't that what we did over the break? Didn't it look familiar to you? Maybe it wasn't. Maybe you were doing something guys. All right. Did anyone want to translate this one? Ava, thank you.
She was sending 100 old men across the
Very good. Wait, across the difficult sea. What about Italy?
to
That's the only issue. Not ad Italia, but ab Italia. So not to Italy, but from. Yeah, from. So that is really hard, guys. Ad takes an accusative, and that means to, or sometimes even toward. Ab means from. Anyway, other than that, that was perfect, which is really cool because this is a pretty hard one, actually. For one thing, our subject is kind of buried in a way that did not deter Ava from figuring out that it was essentially just dropped. But these first words, I'm seeing Eos, and when I see Eos, I think of them, which Sir Farfetched a lot, who's now standing in front of Nerino, is telling us sometimes means them, like a masculine them. So I'm like, okay, is that the direct object? The first word is them. But then I see kentum, which means what, anyone?
100.
100. I see senes, which is our new adjective, that means what, anyone?
100. No, wait, Sente?
No, well, senes. It's not centum, then senes.
Sorry. That would be
Old. Yeah, old. Senex, senes is old, like senile or senior. And then I see these zeros with the OS. So kentum will never change to show any kind of case. We just have to like use common sense to figure out what kentum is going with. But Eos, Sines, and Viseros are all what case? Soraya, Ava, Connor, Carson, or David. What case are all three of the Eos, Sines, and Viseros?
So that would be.
Yeah, they're accusative. So Sines, it's their declension. It gets ES for its accusative plural. Technically, there could be a nominative plural in the third declension. The ES is used for both. But it's sandwiched by things that have to be accusative. Those are second. Those are good. The OS. That's good old second declension accusative plural. So the crazy thing is, all four of these words go together. They're all our direct object, but that's all fine and dandy. We still don't have a subject. So we keep moving through. I see Abitalia and Transmaria. Those are both. What kind of phrases? Anyone? Prepositional phrases. Something about from Italy, across the sea, the difficult seas, actually. That's just an adverb yesterday. And then I get to my verb, and I'm like desperate at this point. I'm like, okay, maybe this has something that'll tell me what the subject is. So Mitabon, what person and number is it? Caitlin, Alora, or Miss Fisher? Mitabon, is it first, second, or third person, singular or plural? Yes, very good. But do you see that as well, Alora and Miss Fisher? Ends in the T, third person singular. So, Caitlin, or anybody, since we never saw a nominative singular, what is our subject here? Yeah, it's he or she, and it's dropped. So Ava knew that, or like figured it out. But it's like, it's hard. That's not made simple. You would maybe want like this to be your like old men or something, but it's sandwiched by this direct object. So anyway, he or she sends or sent, anyone out loud? Sent, because Nelius, Antonio, or Richard, what tense is Mate bot? The BA, sorry, that was a little loud. It is imperfect, good. So sent, or like were sending would be good too, but I think were sending's got like he or she was sending rather, would be a little awkward or something. What the heck are That's not y'all, right? What are those?
Let me see.
Those weird.
What?
Those,
Oh, I can go. That looks like it's a
I
giraffe.
literally can't tell what it is.
What is that?
Ew, it's like some kind of like gelatinous.
Gelatinous.
It's like something's like coming through this. At first, I thought it was something some kid. Oh, it still could be. It could be something some annoying kid in the YMCA like threw up onto the ceiling and then it stuck. Not threw up, but threw upward on.
He took a dart and he just went.
Bro, the YMCA.
It's just too dark. I've turned the lights on, but there's one more over there. Anyway, I'm almost picturing some weird slime like coming through the ceiling. I don't think that's actually what's happening.
Queen slime has a Vulcan.
Anyway, guys, so we could say here she was sending or just sent. And then we have the issue of like Farfetch is saying, Eos is by itself, it's them. But we don't want to say here she sent them, comma, 100 miserable old men. You kind of could. It's not like the end of the world. But I think we should treat Eos like a gosh dang demonstrative and make it these are those wretched 100 old men. So yeah, a whopping 4-word noun phrase here, and it's got one of those annoying superfluous feeling third person personal pronouns functioning demonstratively. So these are those 100 miserable or wretched old men. Miseros has the masculine, and I think I mentioned it yesterday. Senex, it's usually just an adjective, but sometimes it can be a noun on its own and not just mean old, but it can mean like an old man. So this is plural. Anyway, she sent them from Italy across the difficult sea. Italia is what case, Devin or Grace? What case is Italia? Ablative, yeah. And it's the ablative of, well, it's called the ablative of place from which. You don't need to know that. Transmaria, so it's kind of hard. So, this C is plural. What case anyone is Maria here? It's not ablative. It's accusative, actually. Yeah, trans takes an accusative. So, Maria is the plural subject form and direct object form or accusative form of C. Like mare is C in the subject or direct object is neuter. Maria is the plural for C's. And of course, we get Maria from Latin word. So those are 2 prep phrases. Prep phrases should kind of be chilled out in terms of like they're easy to translate. It's kind of just like a vocabulary kind of thing. That's why it's important that we know how ablative means and time when work, because those are the only ablatives that have like a trick to them. Otherwise, ablatives are just like the objects of a prep. And if accusatives aren't a direct object, they're the objects of a prep. All right, and you put in that yesterday somewhere. I didn't put in the yesterday because it feels extra.
Accent just run like 3 different times. It's something else.
Sorry. Who can read number 2?
Oh, it's done.
You can read number 3. Number 3. Ava, thank you. Great pronunciation, very good. They might want to share their translation. Ava? Very good. And did you say drive out for this? Drive out's actually really cool. Y'all might have stumbled hard on that verb. I don't blame you. That's the kind of verb where I see it and I freak out for people who maybe either don't have a dictionary or are not using Wiktionary at some point in the homework doing process. Because it's buried in the, like if y'all remember Iacio with the I-A-C-I-O, that's new, right? Isn't that new? It was on the test yesterday. That means to throw, but like buried in its dictionary entry, they're like also there's this like semi-alternate spelling kind of Iekio, or how do you say thing? It'd be like Aikio. Aikio? You know, I pronounce it like that. Aikio, Aikara, Ayeki, Ayekto. Not a great word to pronounce. It can kind of also just be throw or throw out, but drive out, I bet that is in the book. I don't know for sure. Either way, it works because that is kind of the sense here. That they're getting like they're like removing these desires from themselves. So okay, we start with a noun phrase here, just like the last sentence, but whereas the last one had like a 4-word noun phrase that was difficult to have the direct object, this one's pretty easy. Aiden, John, or Connor, is illy duo weary? Is it those or these duo weary?
I would say those.
Yeah, it's those. He with the H from Take Cock would be these. So those two men. And what we like about this noun phrase being the first thing we see in the sentence is those can be our subject. They sure look nominative plural. At least Illy and Weary do. Duo is just kind of doing its thing. It doesn't really change that much, at least not when it's nominative. So that's your subject. So that's good. It's kind of nice to start with a subject where we don't have to rely so much on verb endings, but you should always still rely on verb endings. So let's come back to omnes, cupiditates. They look like they're doing their own thing that we're not ready for yet. Ex se, even we're not ready for. And then, bam, we hit a verb. It's one of those structures where it's like a two-part sentence, and there's the first verb in the middle. And then at this point, you might have stumbled. You might have been like, well, I don't even know what this verb is. I quit. I give up. I'm sorry. But if you persevered, you would have known that this is just a kind of throw or drive out. And what tense is it, Ava? What tense is yekerant? Yeah, perfect. Very good. So like threw out or drove out, as long as it's past tense, is a good way to do it. But that ERUNT, that should be the only chill part of the verb. This part might have made you pull your hair out. With the ending, you should be like, by now, ERUNT, third plural purpose. So that, and then what's the direct object? They threw out, let's go back up to the first part of the sentence. After the subject, all desire. Okay? So omnis, omna is this new adjective that means all or every. And look, it's actually going with a third declension noun here. So they actually have the same ending. It's beautiful. Up till now, our third declension nouns, they had to have adjective buddies with first and second declension endings. They didn't look like they went together, even though they technically did. But these, it's very visual that they do. And why are they not red? Let me jump out and make them red. So they threw, oh, I make it red in the next sentence. Great, great, Mr. Kettle. That's awesome. Really cool. Okay. So they threw them out from themselves. We saw say twice yesterday. So now you guys are not allowed to not know say. It's himself, herself.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know what happened there. So say is himself, herself, or themselves. Here it's going to be themselves. I feel like it's like always themselves because in this case it's those men. So we don't want to refer to the men plural as himself. So they threw it from themselves. And it's yet another prepositional phrase. Say is ablative here, actually, not accusative object of X. You gotta let's review the prepositions. I keep telling myself that. We're gonna start Monday reviewing prepositions because we do actually have quite a bit at this point. X means from, ab means from, day means from, X sometimes means of, and ad means to. It's too much. Like I realize as I'm saying that, I'm like, it's too many. Okay, and then for time, because oh my gosh, for they, this is still perfect tense. For they feared, what did they fear? What's the second direct object? How about the nature? That's a good old first declension, right? They fear the nature of the body. So this is weird. These people sound like Buddhist monks or something. They're like, the flesh, the human flesh is inherently wicked. So I must reject all desire.
I reject my humanity, Jojo.
Right. Which would potentially lead one to enlightenment, I suppose. But I don't know. I still really like. I like to eat Chick-fil-A. So yeah. I can't agree with this. All right. Any questions about this? Pretty straightforward structurally. What is the only weird thing about this? I think the verb. I think this verb is the only like truly weird thing. Okay, number 4. Potens regina quonium se delexit. Anyone want to translate that part? This one structurally is a little odd, but the commas help guide our way through this mysterious, darkened wood that is the dead language of Latin. Potens regina, anyone? What kind of regina? We're not talking regular sweet, huh? Yeah, powerful queen. The powerful or the able or the capable queen. Potens is this new adjective that means any of those things. Powerful, strong, able. I don't think the book says capable, but I like capable. Because it really is. It's like the adjective version of pasum. So the capable queen. You can't necessarily tell they're going together, but this is nominative singular, and this is also nominative singular. They're just from different declensions, different sides of the railroad tracks. What about her quonium? I assume y'all had to look up, and I wouldn't blame you for it. Because it's a weird word. It means sense, though. So the powerful queen sense what? This is an interesting queen, but a lot of evil queens seem to be like this. Delexit say? So not since she herself. It's not because say is reflexive. It's not intensive. It's not like the powerful king since she herself. It's since she selects it first. Huh? Not understanding you. You might be thinking of Intellego, which I don't blame you because I just close to Dillago. So she actually. No, it's not under. Sorry. So Dillago, we want to think of it as a synonym for amo amare. It just means love. The book says it can mean to esteem, but we never use esteem too much in English.
Why do we have love in the?
I mean, English has a lot of synonyms. And then yet Intellego is to understand. So she loved herself. She's a narcissist, like Narcissus, right? So it's kind of that classic reflexive thing. I feel like that's what the reflexive pronoun exists for narcissists. The textbook seems to make that case by like making the story about Narcissus, the one we get for the reflexive pronoun chapter. This is random, but I just remembered. Ella, you said Theseus that you found out Aegeus had to leave Theseus and Theseus' mom because they were in danger? Okay, interesting. That's cool. I need to find another version. Okay, I know what I'll do. If I get free time, great. I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna find the Ovid version of the Theseus story and see how he describes the early years of Theseus. Because I still don't get like. So he leaves his family because they're in danger. But he was like king of Athens the whole time. If he's king of Athens, can't he like afford really good protection for them? And then why does he remarry? I guess it's such a serious separation that they're like, we can never be together again. And I'm literally gonna start a relationship with a witch who's gonna try to kill my biological son. I don't know, but I'm gonna look at Ovid's Metamorphoses and get to the bottom of this. Yeah. There's a crazy story in here where like, what is it? There's some crazy stuff in Ovid. Where like somebody's sick and some witch tells these like daughters that to like heal their dying father, they just have to like stab him 100 times. Ancient Greek people are crazy, guys. Anyway, the powerful queen, since she loved herself, here's the verb that was in the sentence yesterday. She what? Anyone?
Wife.
It's not. I know. Everyone looks at this. They think.
Wait, no. Crimes.
What was the verb in the sentence on the test yesterday? We checked 20 minutes ago. Vita vitare. It does look like vita vitae, life, but we get the word inevitable from it.
What? But it's not crimes.
No. If something is inevitable, it is unavoidable. Guys, vita vitare is to avoid. But if you're doing homework, you should be looking at the words up, I guess. But sometimes what happens is like you think you know the word, and it's just anyway. So okay, she avoided those three, and we can say like those three men because the OS here makes it masculine. So those three men, and what else? Does anyone else want to finish this thing up? And this has been happening a lot. She what? Anyone? Youngsits? She, huh? Yeah, never joined. Numquam is never joined. Say once again is going to be herself. Yeah, say here is herself because she's just a she. We don't need it to be themselves. And she never joined herself. Cum et is. No, not with death. It's not one of those weirdly dark sentences. With them. All right, on Monday we're reviewing prepositions, and we're reviewing our third person personal pronouns a little bit. Remember, guys, if you see something that looks like one of these truly awful, like I don't know if this helps you guys learn for your teacher to be like, I actually hate this part of the subject I'm teaching. Maybe it doesn't, but like these are bad. Why are they bad? Because the stem is like literally just a letter E, and that feels like not enough of a stem for a word to. I don't know, like there's not enough of a building block for the word. But if you see them and you think they're third person personal pronouns, I guess you want to be able to differentiate the singular from the plural. And they mostly have first and second declension endings. But the singular ones are the ones where the gender is important because it makes it him versus her, him, her, to him, to her. But the plural ones, it doesn't matter what the gender is. So you're just kind of learning about like 4 different forms. So you have they for the subjects, their for the possessives, and them for the direct objects. I've been doing some board pointing and poster pointing today. Sorry, internet people. I know that probably gets really confusing and boring for you, viewers at home. So this is an ablative of accompaniment. I should have asked, but that's what it do be, because it's people. It's describing people. So that's if it's people and it's the object of cum, that constitutes an ablative of accompaniment. All right. Do anybody want to read the final one? I mean, we've just been at it for so long. We've been translating for years, it feels like. Kylie, thank you. Expect Tabom. Yeah, that's kind of long-winded. This one's not bad, but it does have one of my least favorite things in the world, and that is. Oh wait, this isn't my least favorite thing in the world. Okay, at first I thought it was third or fourth conjugation future tense endings, but actually, the verbs stabom and expectabom are what tense anyone. It's kind of been the tense that has come up a few times today.
That would be imperfect.
Yeah, they're just imperfect first person. Well, what person and number are these imperfect verbs? Grace, Miss Fisher, Caden, Ava, or Caitlin. What person and number are these imperfect verbs?
First singular.
So if they're first singular according to Ava and Caitlin, then what is the subject, Nelius or Richard, of a first person singular imperfect verb? What's the subject, Grace? I, right? Okay, anyway, so we can start there. But like we need that to actually get going. Otherwise we're just like, and also, you talk about just like, and basically. And also, anyway, we have prepositional phrases, but having the subject helps us actually get into the sentence confidently. So how should we translate this? Anyone? And it's from Sto Stare, which is kind of recent. I was standing or I stood. Either way, I stood inter eo, maybe?
Between.
Yeah, among them or between them. Enter is kind of like a pud, and that it could be among. So I stood between them. Eos here is just them. Like I said, plural third person personal pronoun. Just them. You don't need to know the gender. It's technically dudes because it's masculine, but it doesn't matter. And so I was standing there, Ibby. I was standing there between them, and more nouns. I don't want nouns. I want another verb. And I was expecting a sign or a signal with animo forti, and dio is an adverb that means for a long time I was expecting a signal with the strong. With a strong soul or spirit or mind. Oh my gosh, guys, what is Clefairy doing here? And why? So Tyranitar took over. I don't know if we noticed this. We had Farfetch coming in. He took over for Nidorino. And then eventually Tyranitar shows up. I had forgotten about this. And then Tyranitar kills them. But then Nidoking shows up. And then Clefairy. Oh my gosh. So
this is sus. Let's just vote them all out.
Let's vote them all out. They're creeping me out. I'm not into the Pokemon anymore.
Actually, Jake's being kind of sus right now. He's been quiet the entire class.
Y'all are so quiet.
Quiet.
I will say, guys, I could sometimes use more participation and like hand raising and question asking, but y'all are wildly chill this morning, and it's cool, I guess. Thank you for being chill. Oh my gosh, and then oh my gosh.
You're weird.
I did not make this. Guys, I don't make these. I do not spend time on this kind of stuff. All right, the bell's about to ring, but y'all can study. Oh, wait, y'all don't have another test, so y'all just go to sleep for the next 90 seconds. Good job, good night, and good luck. Oh, wait, okay, sorry. I said y'all were really well behaved, but remember, a third of y'all didn't do your homework, so I'm still kind of mad at y'all.
Oh my god.